Hi guys, welcome to Metal and Rock Zone. Today I want to talk about a concert that I saw last night that is Kataklysm and Soilwork. They're touring now on a European tour, co-headlining, and I was there mainly to see Kataklysm. So this review is mainly about Kataklysm, how they performed, what songs they played, how was the sound, etc., etc. So yeah, I want to tell you about my experience of being there. But first of all, our social media. If you want to follow us, then we're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. That's at Metal and Rock Zone. There we share shorts from concerts and different content as well. So even if you love us on YouTube, you might love us more on social media, other social medias, let's say. So yeah, these two bands, Kataklysm and Soilwork, are co-headlining in a place called Palac Akropolis in Prague, and that's kind of a legendary place. I think the capacity is about 400 people or so, and it's kind of one of those places in Prague that everyone has some adventure, some memory, something has happened. Anyone who's lived here has been to Akropolis, and that something has happened. And I think my kind of craziest thing is that I once met a girl there that didn't speak English. I didn't speak, I think she spoke Russian, and we spoke on a translator the whole night. And it was a very bizarre evening. And ended up going home together, but don't tell my girlfriend. It's before her though, way before. Anyway, yeah, 400 people. I don't think it was completely sold out, and there was the third band on the bill called Wilderun. I didn't see them. I kind of wanted just to see Kataklysm, and I'll come more to that later. And I came when Soilwork were like 4 songs into their program. So they came first Wilderun, then Soilwork, and then Kataklysm was the last act. Soilwork isn't really my thing somehow. It's 1 or 2 songs here and there that I like. I've really tried before this concert. I put them on a lot. I made a playlist and I took them out running and did all the usual stuff that I do to kind of familiarize myself more with the band before I go and see them. And for me, it's kind of one of those bands that started out hard and became softer with the years, pun intended. But I was there to see Kataklysm for sure. And Kataklysm is like an odd band in some way. They're a very kind of mixed bag. You know, the first 2 albums, they started in 91. I think the first album came out in 95 or 94 or 95. And the first 2 or 3 albums were very much kind of like this straightforward, chaotic, can it be straightforward and chaotic? Straightforward, chaotic death metal somehow. Very limited melodies and not sure it's something that I would have enjoyed seeing in a concert. But then in 98, the singer leaves the band and they kind of changed direction. And at that time, Maurizio Iacono, who was the bass player, he becomes a singer, and they get a new bass player in. So, and they take a different direction. There comes an album in '98 called "The Victims of the Fallen World," and that's a bit more kind of groove metal stuff. So it's one of those bands that was kind of always there, but I wasn't really actively listening to them. I mean, it's more that they popped up in playlists and stuff like that. So I always heard them, knew about them, but I didn't really. So I did the same like with Soilwork. I really started diving into it, started listening more and more, and I really liked it and was looking forward to this. So in the band, in Kataklysm today, is Maurizio Iacono, who's the singer, played the bass until '98, and Jean-François Dagenais is the guitar player. He's been there from the beginning, from '91. And excuse me for my French. And then Stéphane Barbe, who's bass player, he's been there since '98. And then the drummer, James Payne, he's been there since 2020. So I think he was just on the last album, on Unconquered, that came out in 2020. And they've made 14 albums, this band. So they've been quite active. And there's never like really been a big break or longer break that this band has taken. So Kataklysm came on stage and they started with a song called Push the Venom. And now afterwards, and actually just now that I'm talking to you, I'm thinking if that was on purpose, because I'll come to that when we talk about what Maurizio was saying to the fans. There were some interesting things that he said. Overall, they played 15 songs out of 9 albums, and I noticed that there was nothing from the first 2 albums. And I have a feeling that they they pick a playlist that really works well with the fans. I mean, obviously you want the fans to like what you're playing, but I think these guys go the extra mile in finding out what actually works with the fans, and that makes sense, and it definitely paid off because people were switched on from the first minute. I mean, there was a mosh pit, as you can see here, in almost every song on the whole concert. And you don't see that very often, that the engagement level is so high and the intensity is so high throughout the whole gig. Um, it really surprised me how tight it was with just one guitar. And the guitar player, Jean-Francois, he's amazing, actually. It kind of made me think when I was watching this, okay, so what does this remind me of? And I was thinking, okay, yeah, it's a little bit of maybe Pantera, Sepultura, Slayerish, Exhorter, but I think the first thought was Pantera somehow, because there was always one guitar, but it was still super tight. And that's what I really like about Kataklysm, is that they keep it tight despite having just one guitar. And then I checked on Wikipedia, like this morning, what bands do they kind of quote as their influence, and it's these bands that I counted. It's Pantera, Sepultura, Slayer, Exhorter, and a bunch of other Testament, and Cannibal Corpse, and Nebel Death, and different stuff. But I felt like, okay, what is this then? Yeah, it's like kind of death groove, thrash metalcore. Does that make sense? Death groove, thrash metalcore. And which, I don't know another band like this. So if you know another band that kind of sounds like Kataklysm, then let me know. And they're Canadian, by the way. I don't know if I said that in the beginning. And I don't know a lot of bands out of Canada that I actually like. So I'll be happy also to hear hints about some cool heavy metal bands from Canada. Nothing really comes to my mind. And there is Voivod, but they were never really my thing. So, and of course Rush, but that's more like prog metal. So yeah, it surprised me with the guitar, and also the singer. He was really good. He had this kind of how to say, appropriate level of fan engagement somehow. He wasn't over talking, but he was telling people to sing and jump and letting them know when the mosh pit should start. So he was very kind of, yeah, he kind of had a good crowd control, let's say, there. And he didn't do a lot of talking, but that brings me though to, there was interesting things that he said, and that made me think about if that Push the Venom was kind of some sort of a message, because he said, it's been bullshit 3 years. Don't lose your freedom, because as you could see, it could be taken away from you in 1 minute. Next time we won't let them take our freedom away again. And I'm pretty sure what he's referring to. And then I started thinking, is he talking about the vaccine campaigns, Push the Venom? I don't know. But I think there was a political, or I don't know, societal, cultural undertone there. And obviously, I mean, it made me think about it, that for bands like this, their whole kind of ability to make money, to do something, was removed away from them with just one decision, And obviously, a lot of people question those decisions. No matter. He was also, I was very happy to see what he said, something very interesting. He said, we are very grateful that you're here to see us, because there is so many other options out there. First of all, there's a lot of other bands touring. Secondly, there's a lot of other entertainment. And he was very kind of aware that people made a choice of spending their money to come and see them. And I think it was just, all these messages were just the right message to that crowd. It was a very kind of male-dominated crowd this time, which of course is often the case, but there was even less girls now than I've usually seen in concerts here in Prague. And I'm not sure why, actually. The show, when the lights were kind of cool, I mean, they were fit for what it was, but the stage was super raw. It was so cool. You just had the drums on the high riser, then you had amps on the sides, and then at the front of the stage you had kind of 3 podiums that they could step up on, and it was so cool to see this raw environment and just 4 guys playing this tight, this loud, this heavy somehow, and getting the crowd with no frills. There was no extra somehow. And of course it helped that the sound was good, and the house helps with that. I think this is kind of one of the better small venues in this city. But of course the foundation there is the bass and the drums. They really hold it down, and that enables the guitar to be kind of doing a lot of cool stuff, and you don't feel that it gets thin or hollow or whatever. And it seems to me that these guys are very kind of well connected. I mean, obviously the bass player, the guitarist, and the singer have been at it together since '98. The drummer came in 2020, but he's just really, really good, actually. What's his name? Payne. He's no pain in the ass. He's just a painfully good drummer. And what was interesting when I was kind of into the show, like, I don't know, like 10 songs in, I realized, yeah, they're co-headlining, but I'm not sure that I would want to be, if they swap, because sometimes when bands are co-headlining, then they swap, one night you're the main act, the last one, and the other night the other one is. And I am not sure that I would want to be Soilwork going on stage after Kataklysm. It kind of would feel like coming home and Rocco Siffredi is leaving your bedroom. You just go to the kitchen or to the living room. You don't go in there, like at least for 2-3 days. So I hope on behalf of Soilwork that they're not swapping, because Kataklysm just runs this show. It's brutal. They just punch through it, and they get the people, mosh pitting, jumping, stage diving, and all these things. So my verdict, guys, on this is I'm gonna give this 9.5. This was somehow a great fit, like great venue, great stage setup, appropriate lights, great sound, great band, good set list. It was heavy. It never felt old. It never felt like, oh, isn't this getting over? Oh, yeah, this song sounds like the last one. Nothing like this. And they just drove it through. There was no, I mean, they almost didn't tune the guitar and the bass between songs. So it was straightforward. And I think it was a good mix of songs from kind of the catalog, and yeah, an appropriate kind of fan engagement. It drove energy to the fans without slowing down the show, if you get what I mean. The negatives, I would say, of the overall experience, it's not a good mix, those two bands, in my mind. It doesn't give the same energy to the crowd. And I'm not saying that because I don't like Soilwork. I mean, the people who were there, they liked Soilwork. A lot of them did. But for me, it's a bit of a mismatch. And I would say that because a lot of Kataklysm songs are relatively short, there's like a lot of 2.5, 3-minute songs. It would have been nice with maybe 3 more songs. And that's why I'm giving them only 9.5 instead of 10. If they would have played 3 more songs, they would have gotten a 10. If they wouldn't have had Soilwork there, they would have gotten 10.5. But no disrespect to Soilwork. That's not the point. Is more that I didn't feel that they belonged there. So that's it, guys. I am going to see Kataklysm again in the summer, and they actually said that themselves. They love playing in this country. So I'm going to this festival called Brutal Assault. There are 150 bands. I'm going to see them there. And I really look forward to it. I have some more concerts coming up. There is some German band that I'm seeing on Tuesday. I can't even pronounce the name. It's not called Ich liebe dich, something else. Nebel, Kleber or something. And then, yeah, I don't think there is anything else. I think that the next one after that is probably Cannibal Corpse. Stay tuned, but there will be some album reviews. There was a new, I put out a video last week with 5 new metal and rock bands that I found. You can see they're up here. And yeah, like, share, and comment. Yeah, see you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.